Hello, everybody. My name is Fraser Almeida, based here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm a photographer who specializes in architecture, interior design, and luxury real estate. This year was pretty interesting. I got to do a lot of things that was a first for me. I did my first workshop with many people from around the world. I got to present on stage. And as of today, I have a lot of students because of that. What I wanted to do today was based on the things I've been talking to my students and just people in general who meet me in person and are asking me questions, I just wanted to do a brief overview of a couple photos that I've shot for my clients and just my outlook and my approach when I encountered the scene and how I develop it from the ambient shot into the final image after flashing it, taking it into Lightroom, layering it up in Photoshop, and then finishing it off and delivering it to the client. So I really hope that this little bit here gives you a little bit of nuggets to take home with you so that you can hopefully apply this to your own photography and hopefully see if it'll enhance and make a better quality for your clients as well. This isn't something that's the law. This isn't my way is the only way. No, this is just how I do it. And if it can help you, then great. But if not, well, you know what? It's okay. But I wanted to share this with you all because, the year is almost over and it's really been a great year for me. And why not finish it off by giving it back to you guys? So let's dive in and let's take a look at the first photo here. So this photo here was a shot that I did for my client in Las Vegas. This was in a community called the Ridges. Now, this right here, if you notice, this is just the ambient shot. There's nothing fancy going on. First and foremost, where's the dominant light source coming from? Number one, it's the sun. So the light's coming in this direction. Is there any other light sources in here that's coming in? Yes, we have the overhead lights. So we're getting some down lighting here, right? That being said, with those two elements, that's going to dictate the way I'm flashing this whole scene and producing the shadows and lighted areas so that we draw our visual eye into the space, sitting in the couch or towards the back where the kitchen is at. Ideally, my goal here is to light so that I get a shadow fall off hitting here. Same thing on these pillows, adding some nice 3D texture to it. I also want to make sure that when I light, I get a better texture and color representation of this area here. We'll also add some light so that it kind of targets this area here and just gives it some more shape. And definitely this whole area here where the kitchen is right here, and then this wall right here, I want to make sure that we target that along with these chairs. With the light coming in, I want to make sure that we get some kind of light hitting these chairs going in this direction. So before I even start flashing the scene, I want to make sure that number one, I look at the scene, I analyze it visually. I already know what I want it to be for the end result. And then the next step after that is just flash. And then all I'm doing is looking at my cam ranger, which is allowing me to tether and wirelessly see a preview of every shot I'm taking to make sure that I do get the nice highlights and shadows to represent the scene that I'm going to be creating later in Photoshop and building it up layer by layer, brushing it all in for the final result. So this is the image as the ambient image, and then here we go. So here's the final photo, and as you can see, we have some nice direction here with the lighting. We've eliminated any kind of color cast. We've represented the light and the shadow to come from this direction. You can see the overhead lights, which are coming down, which is helping to sell the fact, why is this kitchen being lit? Why is this floor being lit? Same thing with this wall over here. Why is that being lit? The lights coming in from the windows are also why there's shadow here, right? We have some shadow on these pillows, if you can kind of see here. Some shape happening here. Even in these chairs, we got some shadow here. All this is just helping us to get into this area of the space, or from here we can travel towards the kitchen or we can travel towards the windows at the same time. So by taking your by just stepping back, looking at your scene, analyzing the space, and determining, okay, where's my light source coming from? Where do I want to draw my viewer's eye into the scene? And what are the things that I need to fix to not hold a viewer back? We can create an image like this and deliver something to our client that makes complete sense, even though we did a whole bunch of manipulation to make this happen. Now let me show you guys this image on Photoshop so we can see just real quick how I built this up. So here we are in Photoshop, and let's just go to the layers real quick. We'll just start from the bottom and build it up. So this is where I started off with. As you can see, this is camera from the direction of this is the flash from the direction behind the camera. All this is just giving me information for the floor, so I have some nice color and texture there, as well as this table and chairs on the right. Next, we're building it up. We're just kind of killing off that shadow because I want to build this up later and create my own shadow coming towards the camera. Here, now we're starting to slowly build it up. You can see this is the only part of the scene that I want. I'm trying to bring the eye into the couch area and not being held back. If I take this off, you can see that would stop a viewer from getting into that couch. But by doing this, we've automatically drawn our eye into the couch. So let's keep going here. Now I've lit the back area here where the kitchen is at. Here's my appliance wall over here. I've lit that, as well as the wall towards the windows. Here I've brought in my ambient layer just to help fix the ceiling and just bring some more realism into different parts of the image. I mean, mostly ambient shots, for me, I use them to fix ceilings or to tackle any spaces that the flash didn't really get. It's a really nice saving grace. A little bit of a hue adjustment layer to kill some color correction there. This is a little blackened out for the TV screen, and a little grading here to sell the direction of the light. And lastly, just bringing in that view and really showcasing that view so that, the eye also goes out there to showcase that this home, there's a nice view outside of the mountains. There's a nice greenery out there in the backyard. And that's pretty much it. I mean, building it up, you can see how we took our general base ambient layer and delivered this photo to our client. Now, if we go to Lightroom, we have a lot of information here which is unnecessary. Number one, too much ceiling and too much floor. We don't need to see the full side of this appliance wall, or it's too much empty space there. Cropping this in will help us to get a little bit more attention to the most important elements of the scene. So what I did is I went with a 16:9 crop, and just that alone, look what it did. It drew our attention directly into that couch, towards that kitchen. We're not having wasted space of floor. People know what a floor is. I mean, you get information here what the floor looks like. We don't need to see more ceiling. This is perfect. Going from this to this, what a difference just a crop can do to really help draw your eye even closer into the scene and put you in there for you to appreciate and view. All right, let's go on to the next image here. All right, so here's our next image. Here's another ambient layer. As you can see, we have a lot of light glare coming in from those windows. A lot of color that's casting from the sunlight and interior lights. We have the backs of these chairs, but usually I don't like shooting towards the backs of chairs. But in this situation, number one, our camera height level is high enough to where we're not really being stopped. We can actually get in to the center of the scene without being blocked by the backs of these chairs. So I'm okay shooting this composition with these chairs because I can still get to the center of this couch area where the coffee table's at, and the chairs aren't really blocking me. But we can really help sell this with flash, because once we light this, the whole goal will be we want the direction of the flash to come from these windows here, right? We have a couple overhead lights here, so we can, use that as a way to light the scene. But my main goal here is definitely number one, to use the windows as the main light source. That being said, what you don't see here is from this direction, there's actually another window behind here that's causing light to hit these couches and these chairs, which I don't want. I want to cancel that light so that it's actually in shadow rather than being lit like that. So the whole goal of this photo for me, once I start to light it, is pretty much same thing: getting some motivated light from the main light source, which is those windows, and eventually getting some shadows on the backs of these chairs so it doesn't stop my eye. Same thing with this couch here, and even these little couches over here. Just pretty much the whole point of that is just so that my eye goes into this area here, right? And puts me into this little seating area where I can sit down, watch TV, look at the fireplace. Just that's my whole goal, is how do I take the viewer into this scene? So by using flash, I'll just go around and light this in a way so that the direction of the light is coming from the windows here, and just making sure that I hit it so that, like I said, the couches and these chairs are in shadow, and also getting some shape to these pillows. I love what the light and shadow can hit these elements and produce some 3D textures and shapes to really sell, what that looks like rather than just being a flat image. The light also will help give us some more color representation here and here so that it doesn't look so washed out with the glare of the sun coming in here. So let's see what this looks like once we actually lit this. So as you can see, we have our light shadow coming here on the backs of these chairs, right? This area here. And we've developed some nice shape to these pillows by adding the light so that we get this nice shadow fall off here, just giving us some shape. We've introduced some light onto the fireplace area here, casting some fall off here, which is also same thing. Just the whole point is just drawing us into this scene, right? That's the whole goal. We have some detail outside here in the windows, not too much, but just enough so you can appreciate it. And we've also enhanced what this wood looks over here, and also this side area here. The color isn't as crazy. We get some texture and contrast with the lighting here, and also in this back space here, we're able to target that as well with the light. So let's pull this up into Photoshop and just look at the layers really quickly without getting into too much detail as to how I built this up. So here we are in Photoshop. Let's go to our layer, and we'll just turn these on one by one. This is my base layer, and obviously, as you can see, I'm lighting first from behind the camera, but don't worry. The whole point of that is just so that I get some nice color and texture representation of this foreground element here. As I start building this up, I'll start getting the shadows in the direction I want. So here's my light information for the right side of this composition, just where the kitchen's at, as you can see. Slowly, as you can see, we're building up the shadow here on this couch. Next, I've lit the fireplace area, which gave me the correct direction of where the shadow is coming from. I didn't want that lit. If I check this off, you can see that's very flat, whereas here, there's some direction to that light. Let's keep going here. Here, I'm just toning down the center of this and also adding some light towards that couch area in the back. Now I'm starting to get into what I want to really draw my eye in. If you can see here, this foreground area is pretty lit, and it's not that bad, but I think it could be better, and we can really add some shadows here to draw our eye towards the center of that scene. So just by doing that, look what we've done. We've Added those shadows in, and now it's not stopping us. It's kind of letting us get in here towards the center. But let's see if we can brighten that up a little bit more. Here's that little area back here. It's kind of dark. We just kind of brighten that up. Here's our ceiling. So this is our ambient layer just to fix our ceiling. Same thing, and we remove the color cast off of that. Enhance the fireplace just so we can appreciate a little bit more. And also we brought in that view just a tad, just so that it's not so blown out. Here I use some of the ambient frames to bring back some of this natural glow coming from these shelves. And that's it, pretty much. Other than that, we just added a nice little gradient to the TV. And then once we're done with that, we'll just hit save on that and then open this up into Lightroom. Same thing here, if you notice, just a couple of little tweaks. We bumped up the exposure just a tad, highlights, clarity and texture, leveled this out. But what else do you guys see here? It's a lot of empty spaces, lots of, just voids of ceilings, and it's unnecessary. We don't need all that space. So just by cropping this in, one of my favorite crops, 16:9, we're able to just draw ourselves right into this scene. So we don't need all that ceiling, and with cutting that off, it just takes us straight into the center of the scene to sit in this couch, watch TV, or kick back with our legs up and enjoy that nice fireplace. So I hope you guys can see the main thing about all this is just my interpretation of what I see when I'm shooting these scenes, right? I walk into the space, and before I start throwing the flash out and doing everything, I look at it, I analyze it, and determine, okay, what do I want? Do I want to put myself into this couch? Okay, great. That means I need to make sure any elements here that's distracting me from getting into that couch, I got to solve that. Whether I'm, flagging a window so that that light is not coming into those backs of those couches, or I'm flashing and just creating that directionality with the light and shadow fall off. Either way, the whole goal is to already know what you're going to want to do before you even start, adding flash and doing all this stuff. Have a direction, because it'll make your life so much easier on site and back at the computer in post-production. All right, let's keep going here to our last shot. So we have one more image here. This is a real estate shoot for a luxury home. Now, this was the hero shot or the hero composition angle for the property. So in real estate, especially luxury real estate, one of the things that our clients are looking for is that money shot, right? That money shot that represents the house, that showcases and tells you in that one shot what this house is all about. And with this particular home, it was a challenge. Number one, if you see, this house is sitting on a hill. So I had to get a tripod here up high just to get this house composed correctly. I had my 24-foot tripod. I wasn't at 24 feet, but I was high enough so that I can actually get a decent representation of the front of the house, the stairs coming down this house, and just to get elevation to just, be at level with the house itself. Here's the front door right here. So had I been lower, there's no way I would have got this composition. With the regular tripod, ground level, you'll be looking up at the house. So let's look at some of the areas here that we want to address when we start lighting this thing. Number one, when I light an exterior home, my goal is to represent the home like the sun, right? What is the sun? It's a big ball of light, and all the light and shadow, it emanates from that sun. So what essentially I want to do is take this house and make it into a big sun, right? And make all the light emanating from there so that the light shadow fall off that's coming from the sun is represented by the glow of the house. So even though we're manipulating the scene and we're adding fake lighting, but we can still try to make some believability by using that approach. So let's take a look and see what areas here I would want to target. Number one, obviously the house itself, I want to make sure that's glowing. So I'll be lighting this whole front of the house. Next, I'll make sure that all my directionality of the light is coming in this direction. On the grass, on the bushes, the trees, the sidewalk, everything is coming from this direction away from the house. That way, when we're looking at the house, we're being drawn into it rather than being stopped by it. And that's pretty much it. It's actually pretty simple. It's a little bit of lighting though that it took for this, which we'll see in Photoshop. But let's take a look at the end result here. So if we see here, we have that beautiful glow on this house. The house is nice and bright. You know, this is our sun, like we were talking about, and everything else is being emanated from there, right? Here, 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 here. All this is been emanating from the house itself. So it's just giving me some direction. Remember, we don't want any brightness in the foreground. We want it more towards the center to our subject. That way it's a nice direction and flow and nothing's blocking our visual eye. So if you can see here, the grass is actually darker here on this bottom area and brighter towards the center of the house, which is what we want. That's the whole goal, to bring our eye up this pathway, up these stairs, and into that front door. And look at the light fall off these stairs. It's represented well, saying that the house is glowing and there should be shadow coming from the stairs because of the house, you know, that is glowing. And that's it. You know, let's take a look real quick and see how we build this up into Lightroom and Photoshop. All right, so here's our file, and let's just start building this up little by little. So here's our base layer, right? This is our starting point where we're going with. Next, here I go, start lighting the front of this house. Here's that stairs coming up to the house. Here's a little bit of that left side area. More of the grass area and the bushes. Some more greenery there. Here's another staircase and shadow fall off there. Towards the right of the house. Some more towards the right of the house where the trees are at and the grass. Even this little area here where the driveway to the garage lit that up. Here's the left side of the house. Here's this little foreground area here in the center where the pathway is at. Here's a little bit of the center of the house. The pathway leading up towards the house itself. Here's our this is actually an ambient layer, so I just used that to brighten up the trees and get some information in the sky. And then I just added a layer here for just some touching up. As you can see, there's a tarp down here. There's some, you know, dead grass area, so I just clean that up because obviously we don't want to be showing any of that. And then just a couple little tweaks here to get some more. If you notice, I just kind of, I didn't like that this was glowing. So I just kind of threw a curves on there and darkened that up to give me a nice shadow coming from the direction of the house. And that's it. Save that, bring it back into Lightroom, add a couple little tweaks. The only difference that we did was we just add a little bit of warmth so it wasn't so cool. Drop the highlights, pop the shadows up a little bit, added some blacks and clarity, and we're done. That's it. Deliverable photo for our client. They can throw it up on the MLS for everybody to see, put it on their magazines and whatnot, and be very happy with a seller that's going to hopefully buy this house. As a matter of fact, I think this house is sold as of right now. For those of you who don't know, this was going to be our workshop house for the big photography conference here at PMRE in Vegas this past couple weeks, but it got sold. So, oh well, but it's okay. We got another house that was really nice. And like I said, this isn't science, right? This is just my approach, my direction as to when I get into a scene, what I look for and how I shoot to edit for my, composition in Photoshop, and just giving me a direction so that before I even take the flash out and start shooting, I just mentally have an idea of where I want the scene to go, where I want to light, so I can have the layers to take it into Photoshop, build it up, and finish this photo to hand off to my client. So guys, thank you for your time for watching this video. I hope you took away something from it, and let me know. Give me a thumbs up, shoot me a comment, or send me a message. Give me your thoughts on what do you guys think? Do you like this kind of video? Do you like this content? Do you want to see more of it? Or is there anything more that you'd like me to add to it? Give me your feedback. I'm all about collaboration. But until then, keep on shooting, guys, and I'll see you all soon.